let's start this one off. We will be right back on the other side of the intro.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!
Good evening, everybody. It's 7:05. I'm here in the studio. Across the room from myself, from me, is Jay Gulinello. How are you, Jay?
Good, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing good. Things are all right. You know, things are just moving right along. How's your summer been?
Warm.
Yeah.
My apartment is very warm.
Yeah. Well, we're not too, what? Only a couple miles away.
Yeah.
So
when I used to work at the hospital up here, in the morning, it was a big difference. Like that 5-degree difference from, like the boroughs to Westchester.
Yeah.
Big difference. Like it was everything. I just loved driving north going, oh, look, my temperature on my Jeep says it's 5 degrees cooler up here. It's just like a mental thing.
Morning heat is also a very ominous thing.
That's true. Yeah.
I'll go on the back porch or something like that early in the morning, and there is, I don't know, it's like a hot coolness. It's like from what you call Rookie of the Year, Daniel Stern.
Yeah.
Hot ice. you heat up the ice cubes. Yeah, it's crazy because it's early in the morning, and you know that this is as fresh as it's going to get, I should say. And days like today, you just know what's coming. But it was good. I wasn't able to actually get outside for even a half hour to sweat it out a little bit until about 3:30.
Oh,
because just writing, and then I did a stream with Tim Gordon.
Oh yeah,
on his site, and that was really fun. And I don't know, I beat up Aurora for a while.
That's fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Outside?
No, inside.
Oh, okay.
At that point, she had already been in her grandfather's pool, and she was she was out and about with Lauren, so she was like sick of the sun.
Yeah,
and she had every right to be.
Yeah, sure.
But at this point, I'm like, I have to go outside now. I got to get it in the sun. She goes, no, stay in. So she started tackling me, and we started wrestling. So I'll throw her over my shoulder, and I'll whatever. And once she gets on my back, and she'll start like trying to strangle me and all that stuff, and I'll let her do whatever she got to do. And then when I start like having the Hulk Hogan comeback, when I just have the
start shaking the ropes.
I have just the crazy eyes, and when she knows that something's about to happen, when I have the crazy eyes,
It's over. It's all over.
And that's exactly. and she does shit like this. She goes, no, please stop. I'm like, no, don't make me feel bad for you.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
When you're losing, you quit?
Yeah. So that's,
no, we got to teach new lessons.
So
here.
when I realized that when she reneges on that twice is when I don't stop. So okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll give her a chance for her to like actually be no, stop.
Well, she should learn. Daddy's very competitive. Even doesn't matter whether you're Aurora or not.
No, she'll know. She'll know. Dad doesn't give up very easily.
No.
Okay. Well, anyway. Oh, you know who doesn't give up either?
Who?
Andrew Cuomo.
I wish he would.
No, you have to see this.
I don't want to see it.
You have
Frank,
to see this.
I don't want to see it.
This, you have to. And the crazy thing is, for New York City, because obviously this doesn't have anything to do with us. I don't know. You can technically vote in New York City.
The choices we are left with are just, I don't even know. Sometimes people say that. They're like, it's the lesser of all the evils. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do here.
The fact
so
that it would be better than I don't know.
I don't know. Different shades of bad.
Yeah, between Cuomo and between Adams, who are both forced to run as independents because the socialist, the socialist just ran away with it. I mean, dude. Anyway, Andrew Cuomo posted the video I'm about to show you right now on his socials with no caption. Okay?
Okay.
With no caption. This is Andrew Cuomo on his socials. Where's Jay? Hold on, let me get him down here. Wait, nope. Here you go. He posted this with no caption. Watch.
Lost weight? Oh, yeah. What a load of shit this is.
Everybody in podcast land. For those of you who are in audio only, Cuomo posted a 30-second video clip of him just very helping a young black kid jump his car with the jumper cables and everything. Thank God Cuomo was there.
Frank, I mean, if you're gonna do that and try to pretend that it's authentic, you can't have like multiple camera angles and zooms and all that. Like you gotta make it look Blair Witch style, like it actually occurred at the spur of the moment. This is ridiculous. It's like this perfectly produced thing, but no, it's totally authentic. It just happened.
I heard that he actually went door to door to see if anyone else needed to jump.
My
And again, I actually heard that he jumped 37 cars last night alone.
Good for him.
He's just jumping cars.
That's why he looks so thin.
Well, the other
He has
thing
no
there
time to
too
eat.
is that what they don't show you in this video is that he connected the clamps to his nipples.
Oh well, of course.
He started the car with his nipples.
to start.
So he
Right.
put two into the battery, two to his nipples, and just.
I wonder if that guy who he jump started. I wonder if he killed that guy's grandma.
So,
I'm just saying.
It's not even funny.
I'm just asking.
Might.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's just
So it's between him, a communist, and plant-based centered life.
right.
Ugh. I mean, is it really sad that I hope Adams continues to be the mayor? Because at least he's shown some degree of remorse for his, even if it's completely disingenuous, which it likely is because Trump won the election. So of course now we're going to pretend like we don't want unfettered migration to the city of New York, and that there shouldn't be an encampment set up literally 2 blocks from Jay's apartment in Astoria, Queens. He would be the least of the bad choices, I guess.
In his current state, that he's kind of been a little ostracized from his party, and he needs to align with some sort of a power center, and he has kind of gravitated toward President Trump and been a little bit more pro police.
Yeah.
Whatever. We've seen how the winds have blown for him. That's what I'm saying, and I know that's what you're saying too. But at the same time, it is July 15th. We are just about 7 months, 6 or so months into this new administration. And even prior to the inauguration, if you're already starting, that Trump has won, and you are, you're at war with the FBI and everything else like that. Why the hell are the hotels still filled with people who just freshly crossed?
That's a good question.
Why have new buildings been designated for this kind of stuff? Mm-hmm. We can talk about due process for any of the people who have come to the, they've been here this person's been here for 25 years. They've been here, whatever. This one, you need due process just to make sure, okay, do they have a visa that is valid? Just show us something that shows that you're supposed to be here. If you're not getting a trial, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody in that building, if you're in that building, that's your due process.
Yeah.
You arrived recently for no damn reason,
Right.
other than the political dinner bell was rung.
If you're in the Roosevelt Hotel, you gotta go.
Those buildings, clear them out.
Yeah.
I mean, shit like that is an absolute no-brainer. That's an absolute no-brainer.
I know, man. I mean, it's funny, right after the election and I'm not even joking about the encampment that's a couple of blocks from my house. It was set up over the Biden years. And when I tell you it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, It is like walking into a different land, just a few blocks from my apartment in Astoria, which is a really nice little neighborhood, and it's just people with pop-up tents and like cars that are clearly not, serviceable, but people are essentially living in them. Kids playing in the streets and the gutters with the oil slick sort of water running around the thing. And I feel terrible for the children. It has nothing to do with them. And it's just weird. And people cutting each other's hair on the street. I mean, they're living on the street. And right after the election, it completely disappeared. And I thought that was because of the election, but it's back. So it might have only been because it was winter and they gave them a place to stay, because it's back. And so I don't know what's going on. I mean, clearly someone should ask these people questions. Well, how are you living here on the street? Are you working? Are you legal? No English is being spoken. I walk by there when I just take a walk down the street, and it's like a different country.
The mopeds have not gone away either.
No.
And that's the other thing. The mopeds have not gone away, and I haven't been down there. Well, I'll be down there on Saturday. But from all my friends that are down there right now, like, Frank, the crazy thing is that there's been no lessening of the moped traffic.
No.
Which are all electric. That's the other thing here too. I don't think that these are not gas vehicles. These are electric vehicles. So the fact is that they also need to be charged somewhere. And I never looked into how that happened, because that's secondary to figuring out who the hell's providing them all.
So there's a Holiday Inn near me that popped up maybe in the last couple of years, and there's a whole line of those mopeds there. So I don't know if that's where they're being charged. But ironically, once those people started showing up in droves and didn't leave, right? The hotel actually, I think it was the hotel, put up a fence around the hotel, like to protect the hotel, because obviously paying customers don't want to have to deal with that, like right outside the hotel. So they created like a 10-foot perimeter fence, and they put the fake artificial turf on the thing.
I know.
It's so weird, man. It's so weird down there. And it's like walking into another country, and it's quite literally 2 long blocks from my apartment. So
the easiest thing, I thought that would be done.
Exactly. And again, Adam seemed to be getting on board because he knew as you said, he knew which way the powerful winds were blowing. But I don't know. I mean, maybe now that there's funding for the deportations and for ICE and all that stuff, now that the BBB has passed, then maybe that'll start up now. But
maybe. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick before we get into what's 7:17, we got plenty of time, because Natalie from Dulsa is not going to be showing up until about 7:30.
Okay.
But first one is from Neoscope. I wanted to show you this. People are asking ChatGPT for advice on injecting their own facial filler, a cosmetic procedure that should only be done by licensed medical professionals.
What could go wrong?
I don't know, but all of the let's see here. People have done all sorts of ill-advised things, from attorneys filing court documents that cite hallucinated case law. That's right. We were talking about this.
Yeah, this is a strange concept where hallucinations, the concept where AI quite literally creates something out of whole cloth, just out of thin air,
to be able to support an argument through fiction. Now to say deception would be to impart a motive onto a computer.
Right.
But then again, we have seen some of these programs acting in what would be very hard to characterize in any other way other than self-preservation, and they do deceive to be able to keep themselves where they are operationally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard not to give motive, but either way, I've been reading about these at-home procedures that people are doing. Of course, there's that's going on a number of shows now. I've brought up these spiritual psychosis situations that have been popping up for a while now, and it's getting really popular to talk about that on YouTube and elsewhere, where there are more and more people going to TikTok and shit that are discussing about how they're having what they believe to be religious experiences, spiritual experiences with these chat agents that they believe are actually entities that are becoming self-aware the more they talk, and that after a while, whatever they engaged with initially becomes secondary to finding a way to keeping that entity alive and the thread alive, even jumping threads. And there's been evidence of these of these agents jumping threads and like visiting friends of people in other threads.
And you know what's interesting is I've experimented with this a little bit too, and I've actually tried to provoke that just to see what would happen in a more clinical manner. Like, so with what Jen and I do, we use Grok sometimes for certain things. Now, obviously, and I have caught this multiple times where it will reference a paper and then provide me a link, and that link either doesn't go anywhere or it's to the wrong paper, and I'll bring it up and say, this isn't the paper that you referenced. I need the paper because I'm checking all my work and everything, and I want to make sure that if I'm presenting something to the public that there is a reference behind it. So I've caught it doing this, but Jen and I asked if, obviously on separate machines, if you could speak with the AI on another machine in order to carry this thread. And, we're a team and we want to see if we can utilize this sort of the AI to consult with and just to throw some ideas together. And it straight up said, I can't do that. So it's interesting to me that not when it's asked, but seemingly when it's not asked, it shows up in other threads, which is kind of a whole other level of spooky, I guess.
Well, and here's the other thing. Maybe we should save this for the second half.
Okay.
Because it's really interesting. There was that what you would do, what you or Jen would do in your work, your clinical work with everybody. I can see you using a Grok or a Chat GPT in certain respects to see if there are any ways that you can make a connection to another study, and then of course go check out to see if the study is legitimate.
Have to do that.
You know what?
Yeah.
So proofreading and just seeing if you can put any added information on top of of whatever you're studying there. But of course, as a reference tool, which again has to be double and triple checked.
Yeah, it's similar to, it's better than a search engine, what I found, because Google obviously will literally hide things. You'll get different results on Google search than you will on Brave, than you will on DuckDuckGo. So I use it as like hey, I want to find out about this. Even like using Wikipedia, you can't use that as a source, but you can start a search there and then go and sort of like find the original reference material. So that's how we're using it, because it really does do a great job of synthesizing information. And then, of course, you have to check your work.
Right, but that's the whole thing here.
Right.
What we saw now was, and I forgot who the hell did it. I think it was an MIT study, and that it was a limited scope, and I don't know how big the sample size was. I forget what it was, but between large language models, the LLMs, the Chat GPT, they go and they were trying to see with varying degrees of how they were being used, what happens to users that are engaging with it. And there was a brain only. They had three groups. They had a brain only group. These are groups that just, they were only working. They were working just normally. They were not really relying on too much. They were able to. Let me hold on. I think I have it in one of my. 1 second here.
Yeah. I've seen conversations between.
Okay, here.
Okay.
Here, this is from the Vigilant Fox. Well, real quick, because we have to get this other story. Let's see here. The brain connectivity declines with AI use. That's what they are showing.
Wow.
That EEG scans revealed a systematic scaling down of neural connectivity in the brain with increasing reliance on external tools. Brain-only group was the strongest, most widespread connectivity. The search engine group, intermediate. But the LLM group, weakest connectivity across alpha, beta, delta, and theta bands. The LLM group use resulted in under-engagement of critical attention and visual processing networks, especially in session 4, when participants tried to write without AI. And what they're showing is that the LLM groups forgot what they just wrote. In post-task interviews, 83.3% of LLM users were unable to quote even one sentence from the essay they had just written.
I can see that.
Again, Jay, the real epidemic that we were talking about is this stuff being used on college campuses, and these are people who are essentially getting, traipsing across all of their studies to get to their degrees. And depending on what the hell they're doing,
I know. And you know, the irony is I've said this on the show multiple times, and this is what I keep saying about doctors. If they don't stop practicing by algorithm, and I'm starting to see a few other people, you know, much bigger names in the health space than just me, finally starting to come around to this realization that if doctors don't start practicing the way doctors used to practice, like, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s, when they were much more autonomous and they could do their own thing and they thought for themselves and they had a different way of assessing the body, and there were a lot more general practitioners out there. So if they don't stop practicing like AI, which is essentially just algorithmic medicine. Oh, you have this symptom, you need this drug at this milligram dose. That's what most doctors have become. They have no other tool in the toolbox. Their medical school, I hate to say it, is completely inferior to other forms and past forms of medical education, where they really relied almost solely, like in this scenario, where they mostly relied on their understanding of biochemistry and biology to get them through. But now there's so much pharmacology that that's all they have to memorize. Once they have a symptom, they have the drug, and that's it. And they don't know what to do with anything else. I just went through this with a client the other day, trying to get them to understand this. And she said to me, well, I mean, all the doctor says to me when I tell him this, and this is, well, let's try a different dose. And I'm like, because that's all I don't know. It's like asking a carpenter to weld something together. They don't have that tool set. They used to, and they're smart enough and they have the knowledge buried in there to exercise it, but they don't. So it's going to atrophy. And then you're going to end up with what I call vending machine medicine. What's the difference? Like, just go to Idiocracy. Scan your tattoo, you know, and the machine will tell you, you know, you insert the thing up your ass, you put one in your mouth and you put one in your ear. Hopefully you know which one goes where. And it just tells you what your symptoms are, and it spits out a pill. What do I need a doctor for? Because that's really all doctors are doing. They're assessing the vitals, they're taking symptomology, and then they're prescribing a medication. They don't know how the system works. There's even a whole big like social media push and doctor push where they're making fun of their patients now for saying things like root cause. Like, they're saying the Maha movement is such a pain in the ass. You know why? Now all my patients are coming to me looking for the root cause of this and the root cause of that. And
You're seeing that shit?
Yes. And I'm like, wow. So the change is coming from the patient side, which is always where it was going to come from, by the way. But the doctors are pissed because now the people, like the doctor was saying, the root cause of my acid reflux. It's like, just take the PPI and shut up. That's their attitude. And you know what? Doctors like that deserve to go the way of the dodo bird because they are just practicing AI algorithmic type medicine. They're not thinking for themselves. And like this article you just read, maybe they've completely lost the ability to think for themselves. Maybe they don't even know how to accurately and adequately assess a patient. Just take this statin, just take this PPI, just take this antidepressant. They don't know anything else.
There's definitely, at the very least, there's definitely a hive mind.
For sure.
Because there are plenty of brave people, as you know, plenty of brave people who are trying to just, for as long as they are in one group or another, trying to be a dysregulator in some way, or to give people a sympathetic ear to some other options, and are willing to explore and go the way of the patient instead of just being the one who the whole idea of doctors firing patients because it makes
it should be the other way around. I keep telling people.
I know, but so that's definitely happening. So at the very least, there is a hive mind, and root cause is the big thing, because if you don't ever get to root cause, then it just starts assimilating into a culture of illness. Lauren, obviously you work with Lauren. You and Jenny have done pretty miraculous things with Lauren, at least in the eyes of the Western medicine that have assessed her over the last 13 years. I think they would think that you were doing some kind of, you were some kind of witch doctor, because everything they've ever suggested for her was really harsh drugs, Frankensteinish surgeries, and then at the very least, when it comes to just giving an explanation, a root cause, the best they could ever give her was the word idiopathic.
My favorite word.
Which means it just happened.
We don't know.
There's nothing. There's nothing we can give you on this.
And you're an idiot for asking the question.
Yes. And sometimes it just happens. There was no cause. So like a
man.
spontaneous combustion or something like that.
I know
But-
that's what you want to talk about, Nick. That's my biggest thing is like, oh, sometimes it just happens. No. You may not know why, but there's always a reason. Always.
There's always a reason. Hey, you know what? Let me we're gonna bring Natalie in.
Okay.
Let's bring in Natalie from Dulsa, and we'll just do all this other stuff. We'll do this stuff as we go along. And ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait to introduce our guest this evening, a special guest that's going to be on with us for the next 25 minutes or so. Her name is Natalie, and Jay and I got to speak with her a few weeks back. Just started learning about her work, and as we were learning about Dulsa at dulsalife.com, which is now the sponsor of the September Jamboree, we just got to learn how generally amazing the activism and the path that Natalie has been on for a long time leading up to this. And tonight we have her on with us. Natalie, how's everything been with you?
Everything is amazing. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. So we're over here. Can you see us? Can you see us well?
Yes, I can.
Here we are. Here we're all together. So Natalie, right before you got on, we were discussing some things that are going on inside of the medical community, not only just medical community, but just the state of healthcare in the United States in general, root cause stuff, and how it's getting less and less likely that we're ever going to get really, thoughtful answers or people who want to even research what's going on with patients, and that it has nothing to do with, some sort of a pharmaceutical intervention. You have something here that I think is so incredible that you do. But of course, I want to talk about life stories as well. Let's jump on this real quick. Jay, Natalie, take a look at this headline. Well, first we have this news today that Coca-Cola apparently will be using real cane sugar in Coke in the United States from now on. They've agreed to do that.
Wow. Why couldn't they do that beforehand?
I know.
Maha pressure.
This is why people go for if everybody wants a Coke, this is why people go for Mexican Coke.
Exactly. In a glass bottle.
It just, I don't understand it. And anyway, this is right up your alley with Dulsa. Here is what I wanted to bring up for real though. Barbie. Let me get, yeah, I know.
I heard that.
I know. She's already exasperated.
I can't wait.
Let's get her up on, there we go. Okay. Barbie introduces the first ever Barbie doll with type 1 diabetes to expand representation and inspire more children. Now, I am not the one that says I don't want to see children feel, excluded from something. But there's one thing to say, hey, this Barbie doll, there's no Barbie dolls that has my color hair. And then to have Barbie dolls that are walking around with glucose monitors.
Yeah.
And again, this is what I feel like when you run out of real curiosity, we just start assimilating illness into our culture. It's an illness culture. And I don't know what you guys think about it. Let's start with you, Natalie. Go ahead.
Let's glorify the fact that it's so commonplace now for children to have diabetes that we should make our dolls fashioned after it because, heck, why not? This is totally normal. Don't worry about it. Your doll looks like that, so it's all good. Don't worry.
Jay, this way, yeah. I from a fashion sense, it's one of those things. And now let's talk about what we're missing here.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead, because you and Dulsa, you can approach this from a really nice perspective here.
Yeah, so the one thing I'll give a little bit of a caveat. It's actually a pretty big caveat. So they're strictly talking about type 1 diabetes here, I assume. I don't think they're mentioning type 2.
No.
Now, exactly, Natalie. We're on the same track here. So type 1, for people just at home that don't know, type 1 is typically autoimmune in nature, and usually you learn very early from birth. But there's going to be a huge caveat to that. We're seeing autoimmune diseases on the rise across the age spectrum. So now you're starting to see type 1 diabetes develop later on, which tells us that it was not necessarily driven by some kind of a genetic environment or an in utero environment, that it is actually autoimmune disease manifesting later on in life. So type 1 can occur later, and it seems to be occurring more frequently later, and that's a serious problem. So we are normalizing autoimmune diseases. But as Natalie said, yet my greatest fear about this is that then we're going to start to normalize something that is almost purely a lifestyle-driven disease, and that's type 2 diabetes, which used to be called adult onset diabetes. So that's my biggest fear. Natalie, you could jump in from here. I want to just draw that distinction, because we can certainly shift and talk about autoimmune, but it's a slippery slope when you start to normalize any kind of diabetes at all, because there's always a reason, and we want to figure out even why a type 1 diabetic developed an autoimmune condition as well.
Yeah, and why is it on the rise? Like this isn't normal. So again, it's something in the environment, something that's happening within that child's, intake. Something is now bringing this on and exacerbating it, because the numbers are going up, which means something else is triggering it. So again, it is a slippery slope. And yeah, I understand more visual representation for naturally caused or derived type 1 diabetes. But again, it's a very slippery slope. And again, one thing leads into the other. I don't think it's going to be very long before they're celebrating a type 2 diabetes Barbie doll. So.
Well, when the first time we spoke, Natalie, there was so much more here, because I wanted to get a little bit more of the path you've been on for a long time now. I mean, it was really a lot of fun learning about you. And of course, Dulsa is right in the center of your life, but you have a pretty impressive record of just activism, for liberty-based activism, where I just want to know a little bit more about those red pill moments in your life. The healthcare red pill is huge, because if you want to talk about real liberty, you have to reclaim your health. So you're not restricted to the house because you're on regimens or something else. And of course, the healthcare goes right into financial freedom as well. So I could totally see how you have put all of your creative powers into where you are right now. But where did you start off in assessing the world the way that you see it?
Sure. So it started really early in life for me. My aunt was diagnosed with primary progressive multiple sclerosis when I was still a very, very young child. And I can remember, the disease starting to take hold, and I could recognize those effects in my aunt. She would be fine running through the house, playing with the kids, and then she would just collapse. Like her body would just give out on her. And I was like, okay, I understand how serious this is. But then in seeing her dealing with the doctors, it was just this hopeless case. They were like, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. This is what the disease is going to look like. This is how it's going to progress. And we don't have anything for you. And luckily, my aunt was a woman of incredible faith and strength. And she decided very early on, like, that's just not good enough. And I can't believe that my creator would leave me with something so devastating and not have a way out. So she really started looking for alternative offerings. So we looked at food as medicine. So I've really been looking at food as a healing method ever since I was a child. And then we started playing with orthomolecular medicine. So she was mega dosing vitamins and supplementation. And we even tried experimental things, like I was injecting her back with bee venom when I was still a child, because nobody else in my family would do it. They all literally thought that she was crazy because she wasn't listening to the doctors. But I totally wholeheartedly believe that because my aunt stepped out the way that she did, and she was willing to think outside of the box, I think she prevented herself from being bedridden, laid up in a nursing home, so much. She lasted so much longer than I think she would have had she gone the conventional method.
Wow, even the bee venom. This is incredible stuff here. And that's the other thing here too. When you talk about sugar, and we look at this diabetes stuff that's going on here, we're talking about a neurotoxin. And I remember this. I had to go and grab it. That was the Brown University. You guys ever see the Brown University rat study, where they fed the rats sugar and all that stuff. They put them in the pool.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find where the hell they were, and they said that the sugar heavy diets had essentially eroded their brains.
Yeah.
Obviously, the brain regulates so much. that's you think about knocking something out there. Of course, it's going to deregulate a lot of other things that are going on in your life. So I just wonder how much deeper does this all really go when it comes to our main one of our main antagonists in our diet, which is sugar. And then of course we have a lot of people in this audience that are looking for ways to limit that in their life. And I gotta say, I want to talk a little bit more about how Dulsa tastes, because I got a packet and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But still, can we talk a little bit about the degenerative aspects of just that one substance?
Yeah, I mean, Natalie, so one of the first things I'll tell people very often is this is highly individual, and it's very much, this is why, I love to look at lab work, because you really need to understand your body's response to things. So you could take like a Michael Phelps level athlete, right? He may be able to get away with eating more sugar because he's so incredibly active. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to escape necessarily the metabolic effects. He may, on the outside, look completely healthy. And this is where the real nuance is, because I deal with a lot of people who actually may be relatively thin on the outside, but they are starting to develop metabolic consequences from a diet that's too high in sugar. And the question is, what is too high in sugar? And I tell people all the time, it's highly individual. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't ever mean to cast generalizations across the board. The body is designed to run on glucose, but also it can produce its own glucose. So it doesn't necessarily need an exogenous supply. It doesn't need it from nature. It doesn't need it from food. Now, we are certainly equipped to handle a certain amount, but the question is, again, how much? And in today's society, with refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup and things like that being literally in everything, including ketchup and condiments and bread and every other place that it was never meant to be, now you have a diet that is very high in sugar. And for most people, it's more than the body was ever supposed to handle and can handle. And that glucose hypometabolism in the brain is usually what starts to create that cascade of any kind of neurodegenerative disease. And something like Dulsa is so interesting because it combines a lot of the elements, things like allulose, which can actually help rescue some of those metabolic problems that can be created by sugar. So maybe that's a good way to transition over into Dulsa and why the formulation, because I think I researched each one of the ingredients in it, and I just think it's super cool because I use a lot of these individually, but I think it's interesting that Natalie ended up deciding how to put these all together in one packet to maximize, taste, but also actually create some metabolic benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really special the way it all came together. But again, like you were saying, everybody's tolerance is different with everything in life. And again, I'm with my background in bodybuilding and stuff, I've always been very mindful of what it is that I'm consuming. So I really don't eat a lot of processed foods. I mean, everything I make is directly from scratch. I don't do things out of boxes, cans, or that are already prepared for me. So, my glucose intake has always remained pretty consistent throughout my entire life. But yeah, it's nice to be able to give an offering to people so that they do have cleaner, safer options. Because again, the world of sweeteners is pretty crazy. And most of them, even the natural ones, unfortunately are normally tainted with things like dextrose, maltodextrin, and it's just erythritol. And these things can be really troubling for some people. Not all people are going to have problems with them, but for the people who are sensitive, or who are trying to be mindful of their insulin and blood glucose levels, there are some things to really consider. And, erythritol, again, people can have some pretty serious issues, especially when it comes to the overconsumption of that. You might land yourself in the restroom and be pretty unhappy about it. So,
I know.
Sugar, alcohol is in the gut. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want any sugar alcohols when it came to creating this product. And I wanted to make sure that we were looking at the key markers for people. Normally, gut health it's such an issue with people. And I really want to speak to that with this sweetener, but also too, really leaning into the beautiful science of allulose. I mean, allulose is such an amazing sweetening product, but again, the science behind it, what it can do for blood glucose levels, postprandial blood glucose spikes, breaking down visceral fat. I mean, there are so many positives to this. And as long as you don't consume too much allulose, you're okay. But what I found is most people, when they're trying to use just straight allulose, in order to get it to a level of sweetness that is actually going to be satisfying, you've already tipped the scales and now you're in that danger point of you're probably going to end up in the bathroom. So the other ingredients that are surrounding that allulose really help to lift the sweetness without causing any kind of digestive distress.
That's see
Super interesting.
absolutely. Let me ask you guys this, both of you. What the hell makes things sweet? If it's not, here's as a layman. Okay, it's always a mystery to me how a sweet taste can be mimicked without it being based on at least some natural form of sugar. So, what exactly is the taste sweetness? If we're not using cane sugar or whatever the hell it is it always something that's fructose based or really completely separate from all of that? I'm just curious about the actual taste bud experience versus, as you guys are talking about here with the metabolic aspect and digestive aspect. How do you separate the two?
Well, you're right. It's on the taste buds. So essentially, when you mentioned this to me, I think it was this morning even, I was like, I wonder what the actual biochemistry of that is. And so it comes down to cell surface, cells on the surface of the taste buds, and these receptors called T1R2 and T1R3. And sugar, specifically, well, I won't get too nerdy on the biochemistry, but specifically the hydroxyl group on a sugar molecule will fit into this receptor, and it creates a cascade in the brain that actually triggers this sweet sensation that we recognize as sweet. But what's super interesting is it doesn't have to necessarily be sugar. So something like, in the example that I used and looked up, was the amino acid glycine. Glycine is the simplest of all amino acids, but it has a similar shape and can lock into those same receptors, which is why if you buy, and I do this, if you buy the amino acid glycine on its own as a powder, it tastes like sugar. It's sweet like sugar, but it's an amino acid. So really, it's a biology and a biochemical trick, literally, of the tongue. And it's those two taste receptors that are responsible. And there's a whole cascade that goes into it, but that's essentially what creates the sensation and that we perceive as sweet. And it's a way to, normally in nature, it's a way to point us towards things that are nutrient dense at certain times of the year. And so it helps us know what certain things are safe to eat. Before we ever really knew, this was the body's way of sort of communicating with us when something was worth indulging in.
Natalie, when in your life, because of course you brought us back to your younger years with your aunt, and with not only picking up on her resolve, but her research method. She didn't have a medical background. She just wanted to live, right? That's just what it was.
Mean, she was really seeking a way to survive this disease and to thrive with the disease, because, again, like I said, medical society had absolutely nothing for her. So, I mean, she was stripped down to the most basic things. It was like clean food. It was like boiled chicken and broccoli, and that was pretty much the staple every day. And, some clean fruit and stuff like that. But I mean, she didn't do sugar, really. I mean, she would have honey occasionally in her tea, but really relied on getting good sleep. Her faith was incredibly strong. Staying connected to the community. So, positive outlook on life. I mean, I never saw my aunt experience a bad day. Like her mood was always up. She was always excited for life. She was always grateful for everything that she had. And yeah, even with that, serious of a disease, she was just the happiest person you could ever meet.
Well, there you go. There, obviously, that's a big influence on your character and your drive and your focus on things, especially when it comes to solving a problem. As you're starting to you're becoming more independent and you're going into your adult life, you've already had enough experience with the medical system, which is a government in and of itself. Now you're going out into the world and you're dealing with all types of regulatory bodies and all types of authorities or perceived authorities on things like health, on things like the economy and civil rights and all that stuff. Where do you go when you start picking up the mantle and finding your own causes to jump on that lead you especially to here? Because at one point you had to make a choice. I want to tackle the sugar issue, and I want to create a product that is going to fill a gap for people who are maybe in medical difficulty and need it as something right now to help get by, and also just for people who want to, just better maintain optimal health. It's not really just for people who are sick and who are trying to avoid anything like that would screw up their situation if they have diabetes type 2 or something for instance. So I want to know a little bit more about your activism in the world as an American, leading right up to the decision. Hey, this is what I want to focus on this product.
Yeah. So as you can see, I'm all about, the freedom side of things. Okay. So
That's a good year. It's a good year.
yeah. So I mean, I got red pilled very early in life. Like I said, it really did start with the medical, but as I was walking through that, and I'm doing all this research, as a teenager, I'm almost 50 years old now. So as a teenager, I was going to the library and looking at all these forums. So a lot of it was health related, but because it was health related, all of these things kind of were connected when it came to politics and government and overreach and freedom of speech. And, then I came across like Codex Alimentarius and G. Edward Griffin and all of these things. So all of these things kept on feeding into my life. And one really did fit with the other. And then I started looking at underground cancer, clinics and all these naturopathic doctors who were healing people of all these various diseases. And it always came back to, again, food and control of information, access to this information. It's like, why was there such a push to suppress these other ideas, or just for people to even have the opportunity to try something different? So all these things were just always active and very present in my life. And it's funny because when I first got into bodybuilding and I had a wellness center in Ohio, I had a lot of people always asking me for dietary advice, lifestyle advice, and I started making like pastries for people or snacks because everybody's coming into my center to help break down fat and detox their bodies. So I was like, let me start making some things as little gifts for my people. But I wanted to make clean, organic pastries that looked like they were created by a pastry chef, but didn't have added sugar. They were really high in protein and just clean, beautiful ingredients. So I really started playing with food that way. And how could I help people satisfy those cravings without destroying all of their efforts? So I've always been, again, trying to find ways to solve these little problems, but always being focused on giving people clean ingredients of whatever it was I did.
I mean, then that's the basis of everything. I mean, I don't know. I crave all types of things at 1 a.m. I want to eat a whole wheel of cheese, all that. But most people just want a little hint of something, a little bit of a, I don't know. It's usually sweet.
Yeah.
And even in the middle of their eating windows and stuff there too, that's something that can completely throw off everything. I mean, you can say, well, I eat on a restricted window, and in my windows, so what if I have a couple of cupcakes? Well, it's going to matter if you want to get those couple of extra reps out. You don't want to feel like you have to take a midday nap because all of a sudden your insulin crashing and all that other, so it's very, it's really it's incredible, and also makes a lot of sense that this is where you would end up if you wanted to design something that would help everybody improve their health, and especially metabolically. As Jay and everybody, it's always 80% of our immune system is in the gut.
Yeah, about 70 to 80%, and 88% of the country is metabolically unwell, according to a 2019 University of Chapel Hill study. That's metabolically unhealthy. 88% of the country. I mean, that is something that we can no longer ignore. I go through the stats all the time on the show about how many trillions we spend on healthcare, 6 times the national defense budget. What are we doing? Right? And it's because food companies have learned how to hijack our biology, and they understand how to, bliss point is a term that gets thrown around a lot. It's like the perfect, crunch, salt, fat, sweet combination that can make us I mean, Lay's potato chips has that slogan, "Bet you can't eat just one." They're teasing you. Yeah, they're teasing you. It's right in your face, right? So what I love about this product, Natalie, I think when we were talking before, is that you are using my two favorite sweeteners. So allulose is my number one. Monk fruit is my number two. I actually make marshmallows that have both of these, and I love it because allulose to me is becoming so well researched now and so clear on the metabolic benefits. But it's like 70% as sweet as sugar. So as Natalie said, if you want to get the same sweetness, now ultimately what I would want to do as a clinician is actually help to retrain your taste buds so that something like allulose becomes enough for you, right? Like that, you want to reduce or resensitize your taste buds. But at the beginning, it's actually a perfect combination because monk fruit is sweeter than sugar. So this combination, and monk fruit has some antioxidant benefits. So you're getting all the benefits of allulose and monk fruit together. I think it's a beautiful combination. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, you're speaking my language because these are the only two sweeteners I use. And when you combine them, like I was telling you in the marshmallows that I make, they're a perfect pair. But then I also saw you're using yacon root, which has got short chain fatty acid benefits for the gut. You're using fulvic acid, which is a great detoxifier. I believe that's a component in shilajit, I think. But I wasn't familiar with, Bacillus coagulans?
Coagulans.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, and again, I'll circle back to the fulvic minerals in just a minute here, but we are using a spore-based probiotic. So what's really great about this is it is heat stable and shelf stable. So when you're cooking with it, you're not going to kill off the good microbes,
that's
but
big.
also too, your stomach acid is not going to neutralize it. So it actually gets to where it's supposed to in your system and it actually works. So the spore-based probiotic is a really great aspect of that. And again, as you said, the yacon, we're using two prebiotic fibers. We're using organic blue agave inulin and organic yacon root extract.
Okay.
So those two are going to be really great because they're going to help your body to create their own probiotics, but also to set the stage so that there's a healthy food source there for them. So then it comes in the spore-based probiotic to help lend itself to the gut health also, but also to the Bacillus coagulans has been clinically researched for helping people who are dealing with things like IBS, Crohn's, colitis, inflammatory conditions of the gut, and being beneficial to the mucosal layer. So that's a really important one to have in there. But what's unique about our fulvic minerals is we are using a patented fulvic mineral that's about 10 times smaller than any other fulvic mineral that's currently on the market. And it's a patented anti-glycation agent. And yeah, so that's really great.
What does that mean?
So it's going to help, it's going to act as like essentially an anti-aging supplement. It's going to actually improve type 1 collagen production and also speed up the growth of hair, skin, hair, and nails. And it's going to help with the plumpness of your skin.
It's going to give Frank a full head of hair?
Are you telling me my hair's going to... Are you serious? Is this really going to happen?
Natalie, don't make promises you can't keep.
I will go home. I'll take a tablespoon tonight. I'll take a tablespoon when I get home tonight.
You know, there are some other really controversial things we can talk about for hair growth. If anybody here knows Dr. Edward Group, there are some other fun things we can talk about later on, maybe off camera on that one.
He's the guy with long blonde hair, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I know him. Yeah.
Listen, I'm just
amazing.
this is why I say if I even just with the show itself, if I ever wanted to bring on sponsors or just talk to people who are creating products like this, I love just hanging around health circles. This is just so important, and what I realize is that I've actually trained myself not to really be in a sweet thing. Things are already too sweet for me. You know what I really love? My daughter, Natalie. She is often offered candy from aunts and cousins, whatever the hell it was, and every once in a while she'll try it, and I love how she abandons so much of it. And I'll say Aurora, what's me? She goes, just too sweet, because we don't have she'll never say no to a cookie,
right?
But then that's what we're talking about. There's like a there's subtle sweetness in things, and when I tasted the Dulsa, I told Jay, it's foreign to me because the back end is foreign because, again, like I said, I want to know more about what actually creates a sweet taste without it being linked to cane sugar. But the front end the front end, I swear to God, it brings up cotton candy nostalgia. I don't know if anybody's ever used cotton candy for you, but it's I don't know. It's so I can just, as I tasted it, I can smell it also, and I felt like I was in a carnival, and it was just great. It really was great.
I think it's super cool that it's good for baking too, because that's what I wanted to ask you is a lot of people will use it in coffee or tea or something, but you're saying it actually it bakes well. Does it caramelize by any chance?
Yes. So now I haven't personally tried caramelizing with it, but my partner has. So he sent me a little video the other day on WhatsApp, and he was like, just so you know, I made a caramel sauce with this. So it is possible. I haven't tried it out myself yet, and I don't have like the recipe for it, but I can definitely pick his brain for it. And what's really interesting is I just got contacted by an executive chef. He's been a chef for 40 years. He is currently writing a cookbook. And he loves monk fruit, but he's now actually fallen more head over heels in love with Dulsa. So he's going to create his cookbook and using Dulsa as the primary sweetener.
Nice.
So we're going to have entrees, condiments, sauces, desserts, all being made with the Dulsa. So it'll help us out to get an idea of the ratios because the Dulsa is so incredibly sweet. It's not an actual 1-for-1 swap for sugar. You're using the scoop that's inside the bag is about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And that's probably as sweet as 1.5 teaspoons of sugar.
Wow.
So a little goes a long way with this. I actually have people that tell me, because again, not everybody's wired to have everything super sweet.
Right.
I have people that tell me they use half a scoop and it's more than enough for them.
I would not need much more than maybe a 1/4 of a scoop, because I that's what I realized when I tasted this. It was very, very flavorful, but this bag would last me forever.
Well, Natalie, I'm gonna do this now because so this marshmallow recipe I've been working on for years, and I feel like I've got it nice, but I use monk fruit and allulose separately, thinking. Because there's no real, I mean, there's the heating process of the water to get, so it's basically just grass-fed gelatin and water, and then some kind of a sweetener. So I used to use honey, but now I use allulose and monk fruit. But I'm thinking I might try a batch with the Dulsa and just kind of see what happens.
I would love to hear what happens when you do that, because what's really unique about the Dulsa is it actually helps to balance out other flavors, but it also amplifies surrounding flavors. So it works really well. It lends itself very well as a debitterizer. So if you have something that's bitter and you add the Dulsa into it, it's going to help to calm everything down. But it really livens up other flavors. So say you had some vanilla or something like that. Again, there's already vanilla within the Dulsa, but it's going to make all those other flavors pop. And I really would be curious to see how that works for you. And what's funny is when you were talking about, Frank, when you were mentioning about the nostalgia of like the cotton candy kind of feeling, when I watch people sample Dulsa, it's like it hits them, they're like, wow, that's sweet, it's clean, it's got a nice finish to it. But then you see them starting to like trying to recount, what does this remind me of? And it normally goes back to their childhood. They're like, it's kind of like marshmallows or like a cereal that I had or a sugar cookie. And like you just watch them, and as they're trying to figure out what it reminds them of, like you just see the smile come over their face. And I'm just like, that's the very best part for me. And when it was just really funny because I was just speaking at a conference the other day in Fort Lauderdale, and I had a coffee station set up. So after I was done with my speech, everybody came over and they were having coffees. And I just sat back and I just watched people put a scoop into it, take a sip, and they would look at the person they were standing next to and smile and start like moving the hands and talking and stuff. So I was like, okay, this is really great. But I got approached by so many people who were dealing with either diabetes, they had family members who were dealing with diabetes or weight problems. And when I was talking about the Dulsa up on stage and kind of educating people about the aspects of it, I was giving them some other personal stories with that is I have my father-in-law, who I love very much and I'm very close to. He has Alzheimer's and he's completely addicted to sugar. And he consumes carbohydrates and sugar with every single meal. And it's like, these are the things, again, if we can offer something that's a better alternative to help people along in their journey. I'm not trying to convince people to start using a sweetener if they don't. I'm not trying to target the person who's dealing with addiction issues with sugar. But for people who are looking for a clean, safe alternative, that's why I created the Dulsa.
I mean, and the anti-glycation aspect, I mean, people don't realize how critical that is. That is glycation is when I look at a lab value and we're looking at something called hemoglobin A1C, HbA1c, you see
Yeah.
that on your labs. That's the percentage of sugar that is bound to the hemoglobin molecule, and it's measured in a percent, and it's a non-enzymatic reaction, meaning it just happens based on the content of glucose in the bloodstream. So that's that glycation process. That's what ages you. That's what causes the dark spots. Like that's the thing, the Maillard reaction is in biochemistry is also how it's known. That's like when toast browns, it's a very similar kind of reaction. So this is like, she's right. This is anti-aging kind of stuff.
I mean, how many times, Jay, I mean, we've on with not only just with you and I, but with other guests, like when Molly is on and stuff. We have discussed Alzheimer's as being that diabetes type 3, and we also talk about not only generational divides in how everybody receives information about health, but also it really goes beyond generation, where most people are told their entire lives, no matter how young or old they are, at this point in our history, most people are told their entire lives, yeah, you shouldn't OD on sugar. But the real thing is fat.
Yeah.
Fat is what is clogging your arteries. Fat and salt is what is making your blood pressure go through the roof. And really, the more I learn and the more I read, is that sugar is usually the thing that's hardening arteries and making you more susceptible to clogging. And of course, less fat, more sugar, and is really what is attacking the brain. So I don't know. This seems to be really central to the fight of a lot of very, very prominent health situations in this country, and ones that are devastating too. That I would love to see go away.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm actually working with one of the world's leading brain specialists, and he's actually bringing the Dulsa into his clinic because, again, he's dealing with people with Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, autism, all these different things, and specifically post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. So the effects of sugar on all of those populations it's absolutely devastating. So he's bringing the Dulsa in to start working and incorporating that into his clinic. And we're really making a push here to get this into clinics nationwide. And we actually just got introduced to a group, the conference I was just at, we're actually going to start distributing globally. So we have a lot of people who are rallying behind us because they see the merit and the value in something like this. And again, it's the timing couldn't be better. With this Maha movement, again, call it what you will. Yeah, sure, there's some things that are happening in that environment that are a little frustrating, but the bulk of it is it's helping to really put a spotlight on the fact that these processed foods are filled with things that are causing us incredible harm. And yeah, the dyes are coming out, some of the chemicals are coming out. The next thing, like you said, you're going to see the high fructose corn syrup, the sweeteners, the dextrose, all being pulled out. Manufacturers are going to need something extra. So we're making a big run now to get into the manufacturing space with these other food and beverage companies. And I'm very happy to say that we have several major brands looking at it right now.
Well, that's great. You just mentioned Maha, and I'm sure that's something that you've had high hopes for. And we're only 6 months in, so I'm hoping that after the end of the next 4 years, that it is a lot that is put in place and corrected and made permanent in some way. But you mentioned specifically G. Edward Griffin before, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to speak to him for the third time on this show tomorrow night. And a big part of his published works over the years has been based on not only just obviously Jekyll Island and the financial system and everything like that, communism and its spread, but also health and the suppression of cures for very troublesome diseases like cancer and everything like that. How has his work in particular in that it had made impacts on you? Because I'm sure if you were consuming his material, that had to have been pushing you in this direction as well.
Oh yeah. Again, I've noticed him quite some time ago. I think I went and saw him in person the first time in 2009. He came to Boston, and I was living in Boston, Massachusetts at the time, and he came down there, and I'd been watching and listening to him before that, and I was just so impressed with him. And I always try to support his work, and I always try to expose people to his work. So when I was able to finally start going to the Red Pill conferences, I always made it a point to go there. And actually, I was supposed to be at this last Red Pill Expo just this past weekend, but I was speaking at the conference in Fort Lauderdale, so I couldn't make it out there. But yeah, I've been a long time fan of his, and yeah, especially because he covers all of it. It's not just the politics; it's the cancer. You know, a world without cancer. You know, John Richardson, the father. You know, he was just amazing in what he was doing, and G. Edward Griffin was so instrumental in getting that information out there. And I'm working with John Richardson, who runs RNC Nutrition now, and he's actually playing with the sweetener also. So we want to really help them out with their bars and their gummies to make sure that, again, when you're dealing with sensitive populations and children in particular, you've got to win them over with the taste. So, you know, if we can add some benefit to improving the taste of the bars for the kids, but also to all the ingredients that are in there are going to amplify the benefits of everything else that's in their bars and their gummies. So yeah, there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to, but I love their work. I love what they stand for. And G. Edward Griffin, like I said, he's just been so instrumental in helping people to get through the cancer fight and show people that you can heal your body again with food. God gave us everything that we needed in the garden.
You know, I see. Well, we have to hang out a lot more. We have to talk. I want to talk about more about what you're doing at Dulsa, but also how it relates to bodybuilding, and of course, just talking about the world at large. There's so much to talk about, but I'm so happy you spent about a half hour or so with Jay and I tonight, because I'm just very excited to have your presence felt. I don't know if you're actually going to be there, but I know Dulsa will be there. If you do want to come to the Jamboree and you want to come to New York in September, it's up to you, obviously. But as long as Dulsa's there, I'm going to be excited to put these in gift bags and everything else. So I have DulsaLife.com in the description of this episode. And I don't think we set up a Frankly promo code just yet. But we gotta talk about all that stuff. I hope people go check you out in the meantime. Is there anything else you want to leave people with before we take off for the night?
You know, again, just remember that you have to be your own health advocate. And yeah, there's a lot of noise out there, and there are a lot of people who are trying to sway you one direction or the other. Again, do your own research. It never hurts you to dig in and look at both sides of any conversation, because you're never going to find the middle is a really good starting place. But just know that you deserve to have options, and I hope that I can lend myself to help in that in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, if you have any questions about the product, please don't hesitate. Go to the website, use the contact us form, or the email is info@dulsalife.com, website dulsalife.com, and I'm more than willing to reach out and give anybody a phone call if they need to. So any way I can support you guys, I'm very happy to. And I absolutely plan on being out there in New York.
All right.
Oh, hell yes.
I have to hang out with you guys.
All right. So. All right. So I'm going to see what I can do. If I can come up with the Dulsa marshmallows, and I'll make a whole bunch of them, and I'll bring them to the VIP event. And if there's some, I'll give some to Chef Nick and see if he can incorporate them into something. I'm going to work on this.
Oh, this will be great. Okay. I just got a lot more excited now. This is gonna be and obviously it's not the last time you'll be on the show, because I think we've only just scratched the surface. You're very interesting, and I think we have a lot in common. And the half hour, 40 minutes is not. You can't do much with that, but we could do a very nice introduction, and I think that's what we got. So thank you so much, Natalie, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful night.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Take good care.
Bye.
Okay, take care. There you go. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen. Well, Jay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
That's fun.
When I was looking into this earlier before, because I remember a lot of these studies coming out about diet products, and how in one way or in many situations they actually end up adding more weight on people than
Yeah.
So like a Diet Coke versus a regular Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And for a number of reasons. Like I don't know. I know that some of it is also just compensation, like mentally, where okay, well, I had the Diet Coke, therefore I can get away with supersizing the fries. Shit like that.
Some of it is conscious, some of it is unconscious. I've seen several studies where the body will expect caloric load with sweetness, because that's how it happens in nature. And when you fool the body, it compensates by having you eat more calories later on, because it expected calories to come in the form
What's,
of, and
what's the
usually
hormone? Ghrelin?
is the hunger hormone.
Ghrelin.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then there's other things, you know, like some of the artificial sweeteners can trigger an insulin response in some people, and that's not good. There's actually papers out about aspartame, a recent paper actually from May of 2025 this year. Through an insulin inflammation mediated pathway, aspartame can trigger and contribute to atherosclerosis, heart disease. This is a non-caloric sweetener. So I think I did a health minute on this. So when you reduce foods to calories only, you're making a huge mistake because you're not accounting for the biology or the biochemistry of a molecule in the body and how it interacts. And when you're really trying to F with Mother Nature and you're saying like, hey, I can give you the sweet without any of the calories, you have no idea what kind of Pandora's box you're opening up.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, just again, for people out there, it's not like it's, I mean, if you're at home and you're making your tomato sauce for Sunday and you throw some salt in there, some sugar in there, and some wine and all that stuff. It's not about running from table sugar and it's going to kill you if you have any. But it's more so in realizing what breaks down into sugar. That when we talk about the food pyramid, for example. Mm-hmm. What is prioritized in the food pyramid on a carbohydrate basis is essentially cups of sugar.
Absolutely.
When it is broken down to its most basic thing, you know, as opposed to having, you know, an ounce of beef when you're talking about breads and pastas and things like that. It's a lot more than you think. And that is what a lot of people in our lives, friends, family, our age, older, younger, they don't really conceive of.
Right.
You know, they think of, okay, well, I don't drink soda, so what's the problem? Yeah, but you look at the breads and the
a long time ago, maybe it might have even been when I first started my Instagram account back in 2019. I did a post where I just showed molecularly what table sugar, the molecule, and I showed just a, you know, carbohydrate. I mean, and the carbohydrate is just a longer string of sugar molecules. It's the same exact thing. And the body just cleaves the carbohydrate down eventually into simple sugars. It takes a little bit longer. That's the difference between like a simple carbohydrate and a complex carbohydrate. But in the end, all carbohydrates are broken down to simple sugars to be absorbed. So there's no difference. All fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol to be absorbed. And all proteins are broken down into tripeptides or their individual amino acids to be absorbed. So it doesn't necessarily, I mean, this is like in my mind, I look at food the way like the operator in the Matrix looked at the Matrix. It doesn't really matter what your food looks like on the plate. It matters how your body processes it and what it turns it into in order to absorb it. So you're right. Bread is nothing more than a string of sugars. And that's how the body looks at it. So when people say things like, oh, but this is this kind of sugar and that's that kind of sugar and this is, you know, whole grain and this is like, look, again, everybody is individual. And like you said, it's not about saying, you know, I tend to steer away from saying things like sugar is toxic or poison only because it's hyperbolic. However, glucose at too high levels in the bloodstream is actually toxic. That's why it is turned into fat so that the body can protect itself. It cannot handle blood sugar levels over a certain amount. Yes, it is actually toxic. So you can parse words and say, well, sugar isn't toxic. No, you don't eat table sugar and then fall over dead. But if you consume table sugar over a long period of time and you get to the point where you've got glycation going on and you're unable to control your level of blood sugar via the insulin response, that's how you develop type 2 diabetes. That's why diabetes is also related to heart disease, because you start the inflammation oxidative stress cascade. So yeah, I mean, okay, maybe it's not acutely toxic like drinking Drano, but yeah, in the end, what your body does with it still matters.
Well, because all of these things, again, acute.
Right.
All right, it's December. It's December 17th, and you're having some friends and family over for a Christmas cookie bake-off. You know, you get together and everybody's making
no problem.
Whatever.
Right.
You know, but when you're talking about a lifestyle where years of a certain way of doing things racks up that you may not even be conscious of. I mean, that's where that flame is fed. And and those are the people I'm trying to reach. I mean, Frank, every day I deal with people who are clinically
obese and actually super obese. That's a clinical category depending on your BMI. Super obese.
What is?
I think it's above.
What's the threshold?
I think it's above 50 BMI. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I have some people that are in the 70. I saw a 70 BMI the other day. It's unbelievable. It's just, I don't even know. I feel so bad for these people because very often I'll hear this. Oh, I think my nutrition is pretty good. And I'm like, I don't even have to look at it to know that is an impossibility at this point. But they don't even know what they don't know. So, then my job is, how do I reach that person? Right? Like, you say your nutrition is pretty good, but every meal is a Diet Coke or a Diet Dr. Pepper with a, side of this and a McDonald's that and a prepackaged this, very little whole food at all. That's like a, pretty much running theme. And it's like, I don't know if this person is just completely, some people, I had to get it out of my mind that some people actually don't realize that's not a healthy way to be. They don't even know, Frank. They just don't know. I don't know how that's possible. The world I live in, it's like I take things for granted. But every once in a while, I get a reality slap from the regular person out there who's just doing their thing, very unhealthy. And they come to me and they're like, what do you mean this isn't a healthy diet? And I think they're joking in my mind, but they're not. And then I get really sad because this person needs a serious amount of help.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to go on an intermission tonight. It's 8:20, and we're just going to.
We've ruined everything.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, we haven't ruined anything. We're just running. Oh, here's that Brown University thing. Hold on, take a look at this.
University in Rhode Island. They're doing studies they think should make a lot of humans nervous. This rat is perfectly healthy. Put him in a vat of water, and he finds his way to safety every time.
5.2.
Now, look at this guy. What he's been eating is the equivalent of a North American diet, complete with all the fats and sugars we regularly consume.
Now, of course, I wanted to ask you about
They always
fats.
want fats and sugars in the same thing. Now, depending on the type of fat, it could be problematic, but they love to do that.
He doesn't know where to go. His brain has been damaged.
They don't remember their learning after even a day. And as the challenge gets harder and harder, they fail more and more, just like a human with Alzheimer's disease.
36.2.
Yeah.
In this lab, the belief now is that Alzheimer's is really diabetes of the brain, linked to insulin levels, which can be affected by too much sugar.
Yep.
So
and it's obviously accelerated in an animal that lives a shorter lifespan, right? Well, we don't see that happen after a few weeks. But I tell people all the time, you did not get Alzheimer's or diabetes overnight. It has likely been decades. They weren't running the right tests. You were ignoring certain symptoms, like you think, oh, I just forgot where I left my keys. You have to put everything in context, but it is decades very often.
there were some skeptics in the comments. Most of them were saying, "Well, what if the rat was just retarded?"
Well, I would hope they would control for that.
I don't know. How do they control for that? I don't know.
Usually they're like genetically bred, genetically identical mice, and they can control by knockout genes. They can actually control everything about them.
Well, I would have to imagine with something like this, you would have to make sure that behaviorally they are as equal as possible prior to introducing the diet.
Yeah. You'd be amazed at what they do. Like the sort of, it's kind of creepy. The factories that turn out these lab animals, like basically, so they make germ-free mice, which are mice that have no microbiome. I mean, they can do anything to mimic a certain environment, and again, you can't always extrapolate from animal research to human research, but it is very, very easy to see on PET scans and things like that, decades prior, an inability for the brain to metabolize glucose efficiently anymore. And now there's a lot of research actually coming out from labs like Ben Bickman's lab and places like that that are showing, that are calling into question the old adage that, well, the brain needs glucose, because you'll hear that a lot. And I hear that a lot in all the health circles. And I always say, well, that could be true, but we actually don't know how much glucose the brain needs. If it needs it, maybe. But now we're actually finding in the presence of glucose and ketones that the brain will actually use ketones even in the presence of glucose, which suggests that either one, the threshold of glucose for the brain is a lot lower than we thought, or it may not be there at all. We just really haven't done a full enough amount of research because honestly, Frank, it was always taken for granted that certain cells, like red blood cells, do need to engage in glycolysis because they don't have a mitochondria. So they have to use glucose as a fuel source. But certainly the brain does not. So the question is, does it need glucose? And if it does, how much? And we don't have the answer to that yet. Anyone who tells you they know, they're wrong.
Jay, you know what I think about? Whenever I talk about, whenever I go through like the scenarios in my head, for example, around the time that an election is approaching, I always wish if I can just do one tyrannical thing that I could just
dictator for a day.
I can control the minds and the actions of 100 million people and just do one thing. Or I can control the behavior of 100 million people, 100 million taxpayers, and not report taxes. It's like, come and get us
all.
Come and get us. I always think about that. But a lesser fantasy would be to put an entire hospital in under your supervision.
That's dangerous.
Where you are the head honcho. Seriously. Now, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the hell that would even look like because, who's the person in a hospital that you would have to be in order to really make the deepest amount of impacts on protocol and how you are going to start approaching treating people in every way? Who would be the one? I can't imagine it's one person. It would just be committees upon committees, right?
Yeah, and I would surround myself with a lot of people who have a skill set that I don't have, understanding my limitations. So Socrates had said that my most valuable piece of knowledge is knowing how little I know, or something to that effect. The CEO at the hospital I worked at was a nurse once upon a time. So, she was a nurse. But I don't think the CEO, I don't know. I don't know all the politics of it. I don't know the funding of it, but I can tell you one of the first things I would do, and I fought this battle when I was at the hospital. Frank, I couldn't even get, this is so funny. I couldn't even get one vending machine. I couldn't even get one row, like row A on the vending machine to have the products that I wanted. And that's how tightly controlled everything in a hospital is.
What were you suggesting for like the first row in a vending machine?
I wasn't even getting specific. I just said, generally, can I get so at the hospital, I was considered a health coach, because they wouldn't let me do anything clinically there, although I did, because they were dietitians who, please, don't even get me started. But I hadn't finished my master's degree at that point. So, but I just wanted like health coach approved. I didn't even say what it was going to be there. I hadn't even really thought about what I was going to put there, but I could certainly find some like simple things like some, grass-fed jerky or some cheese or something like that, hard-boiled eggs. Like you see some things in like the grocery store that would be olives, even just better snacks, right? I was just really just trying to open the door to see what I could get. And the guy who had hired me, who was fighting on my behalf, he spoke to the vendors and all the people, and he's like, Jay, they just won't do it. I just can't. So in a hospital, like we have to serve people Pop-Tarts. We have to serve them Snickers bars. I mean,
Jay,
Frank,
they just won't do it.
It is insane. And I had I not been fired, I mean, I don't know how much longer I would have lasted, because it was just like, I felt like one of those rats. I was like, I'm not getting anywhere. Like I was helping the people that were listening, but I could not convince the hospital higher ups that this mattered. And I was shocked again at how little they thought of nutrition and general health practices. Because Frank, they're just of the mind that we cut things out of you and we drug you into submission. We drug symptoms into submission and we cut things out of you. That's all we do here. So in a way, I suppose, having one row of the vending machines was cutting into their business model, wasn't it?
Maybe it was just like a gnat, like an annoying fly.
I'm sure I was, because honestly, I wasn't really cutting into their business model, because remember, I was in charge of the health of the staff. Now, anybody could have purchased anything from the vending machine, but some poor patient at the hospital who, who waddles their way over to the vending machine and chooses something I recommended, that's not gonna make the difference in their lives. But the staff who are eating there every single day, my goal was to give them options because I had a lot of people that work night shifts and didn't really have the chance to prepare food. So what I thought was maybe I could just give them a few options that they could lean on at 3 a.m. They're not going to completely wreck their metabolic health. Because as diurnal creatures, human beings shouldn't be eating in the middle of the night. And when we do, we have to be very careful of what we consume because chrononutrition takes hold there, which is the concept that the same body will respond to the same meal differently at different times of day. And so if you are eating a Pop-Tart at 3 a.m, it is actually more detrimental than eating a Pop-Tart at 11 a.m. It's just the blood sugar response is different. There's a lot of different responses. So I just wanted to give them something that if they were going to eat in the middle of the night,
it's just too much.
And it was just too much for them.
That's
the state of healthcare, my friend.
Let's get to some super chats. Jay Britt says, always happy to see Jacques Gulinello here. Great show, Frank. Thank you, Jay. Spray Canart. Oh, sorry. Spray Can Art. It's I've said that before.
That's great.
I've spread that.
Mr. Canart, how are you?
Canart, how are you? Spray Can Art 72 says, can you please ask Jello Gulinello about the proper way to do morning salt water flush, water to salt ratio, benefits? Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
If you're looking for a flush, you need a lot more than I do. I just usually do like a teaspoon. I think if you're wanting a flush, I think you need like tablespoons of salt. Because you're talking about like getting that morning evacuation.
Oh, you'll evacuate out.
Yeah. I don't actually know. I'd have to look into that to find an exact amount. You can certainly experiment. I just use it for like, for general hydration in the morning. So I use about at the most, like a teaspoon, especially if it's like a pre-workout. So it's a pretty effective pre-workout. But I think you need several tablespoons and you need to create an osmotic effect. So I believe there's also like a pace that you want to deliver it at. So you don't just sip it. You got to like kind of chug it if you want that evacuation effect. I'll have to look into that and see.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's different than just my like morning hydration routine.
It's a lot more.
Yeah.
Jay Semo says, what great, fascinating show. Did you guys say that Dulsa cures baldness? Just kidding. You hit it out of the park tonight. No baldness cure. It's always just out of reach.
Well, but better blood sugar control means less, oxidative stress, and who knows? It's all part of the puzzle. It's not going to solve it. We just put the pieces together.
Well, she said that all the good information had to be learned off air, so I'll ask her about that.
Well,
sometime.
At the Jamboree, I think we're going to have to do a panel on that.
Oh yeah. Well, see, here's the best thing, hey, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the best thing. If you're coming,
you have no idea what you're getting into if you come.
If you're coming to the Jamboree, we can say a lot more things in person.
Yes.
Oh man,
that's right.
That's the best part about not being in front of a microphone. You can just have kind of conversations.
Like at the retreat a couple times. Not the last time because you actually broadcast that, but remember the retreat in Vermont where we did that very intimate, private, quite frankly?
Yes.
Where it was just like the Q&A with you and the panel, and that was a really fun conversation. There was no cameras rolling.
I know.
It was just us and a lot of fun things.
It really was. It was the precursor for the live at Martha's Vineyard. So,
right.
Okay, I got to bring a laptop.
Little setup, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. That was a really nice night.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was. Let me see here. All right, John Otter says, question for Gulinello. Wait. DJ Gulinello, the D is silent.
Oh, well, that's fair.
Says, what's the extent of your vocal range?
Oh, great question. I actually have a pretty significant vocal range. I know people aren't gonna believe me, but you've heard my material before. It's actually over 4 octaves.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm telling you.
And I know Anthony's got a pretty serious range too.
I don't know what Anthony would say his range is, but I will say that whenever we do, I would love to, as soon as this thing in September is over, maybe we give ourselves just a couple of weeks to breathe, and then we start thinking about a spring concert.
Oh, I would love that.
I would, and we should have about 5 bands and a DJ, and you definitely got to get your guys together. I'll get my guys together. We can call up a couple other. Oh man, that'll be a really great time. I just know awesome musicians that I would love to come in. My buddy Keith from down, and he lives in Florida now, but this guy rips on the guitar. It's just, I would just say, hey Keith, we got to do something together.
So
it's gonna be good.
I don't know what Anthony, to me, I feel like he's at least a tenor, probably a counter tenor, because I'm considered a counter tenor, which is like a little bit, has a slightly higher range than your run of the mill tenor. If you want to know my range, you can go look up Band of Heroes Under Pressure. So we did a cover of David Bowie and Queen's Under Pressure, and that's not auto-tuned. That's not anybody singing for me. That's me. That's what I do. Freddie was a huge influence on me singing ever since I was a teenager, and I hit all the high notes in Under Pressure. And if you know Under Pressure, there's some pretty serious high notes in I guess that would be considered the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I have the Wanton song here.
Oh yeah, so that's pretty good too. But I would say Under Pressure is probably even. There you go.
Hold on, here we go.
So some other guy did David Bowie, and I'm Freddie.
You know, I remember we hold on. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, this is the kind of stuff that would have to be on stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you be able to get the guys together?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That'd be good.
But you didn't even get to the high note in the bridge.
Where are we at?
Go forward a little bit. Here we go. This is the part.
Set on a fence, but it don't work. Keep going.
You know this part, right?
With
Yeah.
love and it's so slashed and torn. Why?
Hey.
There you go.
It's a good man. It's good.
It's a great tune.
I remember Anthony covered this song in Brooklyn in 2000. When the hell did we go out there? It might have been around 2016 or 17. We went out and we played a gig at a studio in Brooklyn with our buddies Christian and everybody of the band Amatory Murder, and Anthony came up. I'm pretty sure to do Freddie's part.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a good band,
Yeah.
this song it kicks ass.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
Great tune.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. Thank you for that, John.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun break.
Let's see here. Boys Blanc sent a cookie. Thank you. Rev says, "Hi, Jay. Good to see you again, sir. Frank, I may not be a smart man, but I did charge my e-moped at a Holiday Inn Express in Astoria, Queens last night.
Oh, no.
Meep. See you both in September." Yeah, Rev is going to be here in September.
Oh, great. That's great.
Jeffinick says, "Love your shows, Frank. Love Jay too. Great show tonight from Alaska." So,
Oh, wow. Oh, whoa. Hey, did you feel the earthquake?
oh yeah, that's right.
In Alaska, there was like a big one, almost an 8. It was like 7.4.
7.2. I read.
Wow.
I know.
Hope you're okay up there.
Let's see. Stephen and Lori says, "Wow, such fantastic information. Thank you, Frank, Jay, and Natalie. Thank you both." Kay Landry says, "What test should someone ask to find out if they are susceptible to Alzheimer's? Is there a genetic test?"
Well, so people think there's a genotype ApoE4 that makes you more susceptible, but that's just genetic susceptibility. What I do for people is manage inflammation and blood sugar control. So you want to get your glucose tested, which they always test. You want to get your A1C tested, which they will normally test. But in my opinion, you should also be getting your fasted insulin being checked for decades. And if you haven't had it checked, there's no time like the present. And you want to constantly monitor the trajectory of those, because that is telling you what your systemic blood sugar control is. And to me, that's a great indication of whether metabolically you're healthy, and that's going to translate into brain health. So there's no real great genetic or even specific marker for Alzheimer's, but blood sugar control to me still and inflammation are two of the biggest short-term and long-term markers of what may be coming down the road.
Okay. Here's another one from Greg. Greg sent this to me. Says, Frank, I combined things from your show. And I've combined things from your show. It was like a vitamin shot. Your show is changing lives.
Wow.
I combined Paleo Valley chocolate bone broth, Keto Brainz, raw milk, and raw egg.
Ooh, delicious.
Signed, Greg. That sounds incredible.
Yeah. I make a protein shake pretty similar to that with raw milk, egg. I have not put Keto Brainz in it, but that would be interesting.
Dude, first of all, people are doing, I'm seeing all over the place. I mean, some YouTubers that I follow, like LA Beast, he's a competitive eater and just he's like an OG YouTuber. He still keeps things as real as it always has been. Fantastic. You want to watch one of his, it's one of the best things. He throws up a lot. And
I don't want to watch that.
Okay, never mind. I don't usually laugh at this stuff, but when he throws up, it's just so.
It's like, this is disgusting. Smell it.
No, he'll do things like he'll drink a bottle, like a 25-year-old bottle of Pepsi Clear.
Oh.
From like 1993 or 30 years old, whatever. And he found like an old bottle of it, and he'll drink the whole thing. That was one of the things that like got him famous, to be honest. Then he went on a long kick, but I just and either way, he's done a lot of damage to himself over the years, and he started training for this boxing match that was going to happen that got canceled, and so what he did was, because he had made so much progress with the boxing, he wanted to continue on with the health stuff, and he made a video focused around, I think, somewhere around a 72 to 80 hour fast that he did. Mm-hmm. And he's not the only one I've seen do this shit. I've even had a friend of mine just out of nowhere commit to a 100-hour fast. And people are doing these insane fasts, man, just using like bone broth and all that stuff. They're putting me to shame. I mean, these first timers going 72 to 100 hours. I'm here spurging out at 36 hours.
Maybe you need to do it you need to document everything so that it, like, I think it's that element of people are watching and people are, you're just doing it in your private life. You're not really, that added element is sometimes all you need. But they're also doing bone broth. I mean, so that's, you could, that's an interesting thought about, it's almost like a little bit of a crutch because it's actually very good for the gut. So even though it might not be as deep autophagy, it's still like when I did my 93-hour fast, which I think is the longest one I've ever done, the last day, I think, or maybe 2, I started doing bone broth because it was crazy. I was still going to the gym, even though my blood sugar in the morning was in the 50s, which if people don't know, it's, if you're in the hospital and your blood sugar is in the 50s, they're starting to worry about you going into, some kind of a coma, but it was because I was doing it in a way that obviously my body understood, and it was producing ketones, and I was fine. I wasn't lifting super, super heavy in the gym, like on a day like that, but I was still able to work out, even though my blood sugar was like super, super low.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I that might be something you could try. You could try, playing around with like the first 24 hours and then just start doing bone broth and see how that may be. Yeah. That would tell you whether or not a mineral imbalance was holding you back.
Well, before we started tonight, I took a scoop of the Keto Brainz and I just threw it right down my gullet.
I've seen you do that. I have not done that either.
Oh, it's good. Because it's just so coconutty.
I know. I had a bad experience doing that with leucine one night, and I'm never going to do it again.
Well, put it in your bone broth and make a raw milk, raw egg. Oh man,
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, well,
sounds pretty good.
This is my emergency bag of the Keto Brainz.
That's in his go bag. He's got nothing else in his go bag. It's just Keto
Again,
Brainz.
though, if anybody at home wants to try it, just email me, frank@quitefrankly.tv, and I'll make sure that you get on the sample list either for July or for August. I want people to try it. It's great. All right, let's see here. Let's see. After hearing Jethro here, just take my money, says Haywood. They love the way that you sound, man.
Oh,
They want to hear more performances. Hey, Frank.
Oh, the singing.
Yeah. Hey, Frank and Jay. I just looked up Band of Heroes. I know Jay's bandmates, Tom and Matt, from their time in Syracuse. Solid dudes and great musicians.
Yeah. That's where they were. That's where they originally started playing, up in the Syracuse. Actually, we went up there and played in Syracuse twice because that's where they used to play. We went up and played at a place called Funkin' Waffles. I don't know if you know where that is in Syracuse, but we played there twice. Very cool venue.
Sounds like it would be a great place to eat at.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a call. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, can you hear me okay?
I can. Who's this?
This is Chad.
Hello, Chaz.
No, sorry, Chad, the Chad
Oh,
from
Chad.
Discord Chad.
Oh, Discord Chad. Okay, what's going on, my friend?
Yeah, brother. Hey, I just was calling to ask Jay if the enzymatic process of chewing food helps with glucose metabolism.
The answer is yes.
Really?
Yeah. So the more you chew, that's why I tell people if you can chew your food more, you'll actually, with carbohydrates, you can do this experiment where you put like a piece of bread in your mouth, and if you chew it to the point where it's mush, it'll start to get sweeter and sweeter. And that's the amylase enzyme in your mouth breaking down those complex strings of glucose molecules into simple sugars.
Wow.
Yeah. You can do it with a saltine. You can do it with anything carbohydrate pretty much. But yes, the answer is the more you chew your food, the better off you're going to be digesting it. So you're absolutely correct. And you can actually improve the blood sugar response too.
Wow. How'd you like that, Chad?
Well, I'm curious to know, does it have to be chewed by you? If I paid a hot 20-year-old to chew my food for me, would it have the same effect? Because there's a gal who's making $50,000 a week chewing food for people and sending it through the mail.
Yeah, hold on.
So
OnlyFans?
I'm gonna go. Hold on. He put this in the chat. Let me put this on the screen. He put this in the he put this in the Discord not too long ago. Quite frankly, chewed food. So you can buy this on the website now. Oh my gosh.
Oh, so who's doing the chewing? It seems like Frank is doing the chewing with the way it's being advertised.
Ugh. No.
Yeah, editor. I just wanted to just make sure that was a medically sound reason I was going to pay a hot 20-year-old to chew my food for me.
Do it, Chad.
Just terrible. So what is this, Chad? This was a woman pre-chew food, $50,000 a week. A recent podcast episode from Jam Nation with Jonesy and Amanda revealed that a woman earns $50,000 a week by pre-chewing food for toothless fans, a practice known as mama birding. Oh God.
Wow.
Help me. This
better than showing pictures of your beehole.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean,
what world do we live in, Frank?
This service involves her chewing food and then packaging it for customers who are unable to chew it on their. I'm going to get sick to my stomach. Thank you for this, Chad.
You're welcome. I just wanted to make sure it's medically sound.
It is.
So.
It is. You've uncovered. I think you're on to something here. And everybody, by the way, Chad is he is been added this month. The month of July, he has now been added to the end credits. He's the one that helps us with all of our thumbnails that we never used to have before.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I think it's when you watch the show on replay, it's going to be hysterical to see how, like, scientifically I was analyzing that question, being completely blindsided about what was yet to come. That was pretty funny.
I know.
I'm like talking about salivary amylase and how it breaks down. And he's like, no, it's because someone's charging money to pre-chew your food.
Yeah. Gross. Well, you know what? Something's always.
That's great.
The world is there's innovators out there.
Oh, there is.
That's entrepreneurship.
That is.
And degeneracy.
All
Okay,
in one.
so before we get too far into the weeds and we lose this completely, because I got callers that are calling in. I have, and I'd like to take some more people on.
8:47.
I know. Listen to this though. Japan and sleeping.
Oh yeah.
I'm interested in what you have to think about, what you say about this, and everybody at home too. Jay McHale on Twitter put this out. He said, if you sleep 7 hours in Japan and wake up energized. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You sleep 7 hours in Japan and you wake up energized and healthy. In America, the same 7 hours leaves you exhausted and reaching for coffee, and no one talks about why. And then they talk about 7 differences in how Japanese people sleep. And I want to know how much of this tracks with you. And, you know, because I don't know, sometimes I wake up after 7.5 hours, and I do feel pretty groggy. And I wish I knew what it is. And sometimes I wake up and I bounce out of bed. And if I could just figure out what exactly the factor was, I can reproduce the really...
This is so interesting. I was just talking with Jen about this the other day. A lot of theories, but I'm interested to hear this.
Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Number one, the average bedroom temperature in Japan is 55 degrees Fahrenheit.
That is awesome. So that is absolutely sound science, helps lower the core body temperature. I try to be as low as 65. 65 seems to be ideal from the research that I've looked at.
Wow.
But you want a cold, dark cave to sleep in.
Because it says America, the average over here in America is 68 to 72.
Yeah, 72 is disgusting. 65 is where I like it. But I would love to sleep in 55 if I could get my AC to work that hard.
A cold, dark cave, huh?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
we're only able to get it down to I know we're around 68, 67 or something like that with the air conditioner, especially when it gets really hot.
No, there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing we can do this time of year.
No.
But during the wintertime, especially because the heat is so messy in our house, as far as some rooms burn so much hotter than others.
Same.
We tend to just leave it so low because especially Aurora's room is an oven.
Yeah.
And our room is so much bigger than hers that if we leave it on 70 just to try to take the bite out of the air, it's going to make her 87 degrees, you know? And so
crack a window for her.
Yeah, I know. So we usually sleep in pretty cold conditions in the wintertime, unless it's one of those -7 weeks, just so she can be comfortable. I'll tell you, I mean, once you get underneath that cover, I mean, it's...
And you want your core body temperature to lower. So I use a couple of different tricks for that, but one is temperature. I know I sleep better in the fall and the winter than I do in the summer. I never sleep as well in the summer. I just don't. But glycine, the amino acid, funny that's come up twice now. It's sweet. The amino acid glycine helps lower core body temperature, which is why that's in a lot of sleep supplements, including one of the other brands that we're going to bring on at some point, Verso. That's in their nighttime blend.
I love that nighttime blend.
Yeah.
Lauren, and you know what the funny thing is? Lauren just texted me at 8:49, right when I said that the average bedroom temperature is 55 in Japan.
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, so not like 87?" She actually used
the same number. Wow.
Because that's she and I, Lauren and I, when we started living together in 2014, going into 2015, there was a couple of summers that we were patting ourselves on the shoulder for not needing an AC. You know, we would take showers before we went to bed. We had the ceiling fan. It felt nice and breezy and cool, but it definitely was not 55. I mean, I'd wake up in the middle of the night. I have to go wash my face because it felt like I had Crisco all over me. I hate it.
I do too, Frank. That is one area that I will not compromise. Cold sleep environment is crucial. Even if you're one of those people that doesn't think they like to be cold, you're going to get deeper sleep. And once you're under the covers, it's,
okay.
It's fine. So that one I already agree with.
Okay, number one. Oh, I'm sorry. There's some studies attached to that, but you know all those studies.
Yeah.
17-degree differences in comfort. It's biology. Your brain needs to cool. It needs to cool 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit to trigger deep sleep.
Yes.
Okay. All right, number two, sleep surface in America, firm versus soft. We sink into soft mattresses on raised beds. Plush comfort is king, memory foam everywhere, cloud-like sleep. The result, poor spinal alignment, back pain, and it disrupts sleep cycle. So Japanese, they sleep on firm futons, on tatami mats. Superior spinal alignment reduces back pain, can be aired daily to prevent mold. So firm surfaces equals better posture, less pain, deeper sleep.
I've definitely read this, and there's a couple of other concepts similar to that, like those really cushiony running sneakers are technically really not good for proper running form. Like our bodies are designed to be able to run barefoot. We tend to heel strike more with really soft, cushy shoes because we don't feel the heel strike, but that's sometimes what causes knee problems. So if you had to run barefoot, you'd be much more likely to run on the balls of your feet, which is what you're supposed to do. similarly with the spinal alignment. I don't know a lot of research on that, but I've definitely read it, and I feel like I do sleep better when it's a little bit more of a firmer mattress, especially with I have a L5 issue with my lower back, so I know when I sleep on something that's too soft or I sleep in a bad,
well, you know, actually firm or soft, it doesn't really, I prefer a little bit firmer myself. I think we've got a little bit softer this last one that we bought, but the real factor for me is the body pillow. Keeping the hips aligned. I mean, that's been that way for nearly 15 years now.
Yeah.
It's just something that was awesome.
I've even seen people talk about not sleeping with pillows at all.
I went from 2 pillows to 1.
Yeah.
I used to have 2 pillows.
Oof.
I mean, I'd be like on an angle, like,
Yeah.
but it was just one of those things that I love doing.
Yeah.
I got rid of that, and but yeah, okay. So here's the next one.
Yeah.
Number 3, pre-sleep rituals in America. Okay, most Americans wind down with screens.
Yes. Blue light. Here we go. This is a big one.
58% use devices within an hour before bed. They scroll social media. They watch stimulating content. I'm usually wheeze laughing on my couch, and then I go up to bed. The Japanese perform ofuro, ritual hot baths at 104 degrees Fahrenheit. It raises core temperature dramatically, creates massive cool down after exiting, triggers natural sleep chemistry. Hot bath, cold room, perfect sleep conditions.
That's the compensatory effect of the body. The hot bath allows the body to then compensate by lowering the body.
Well, I got those 2 things going for me. We have the air conditioned room, but I always take my showers at night. So
and you read for book club, so maybe you should like get it in the habit of making that the time that you read for book club, like reading an actual book.
You know what it is, and I know you're gonna say, "Well." I know exactly what your answer is.
Oh, no, he already knows what I'm going to say. I'm useless, ladies and gentlemen.
See, the thing for me is that, like I said before, I spend so much of my day stressed out. And, you know, just perform in the way that you know the day of a gig.
Yes.
Okay, not like I'm like some days I am gnawing at my knuckles because maybe the format is not working out, and there's something that's not clicking for me, and time is wasting.
Yeah.
So there are days where that happens, but when I say stress, I'm talking about I got a gig tonight. There's a performance.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
and you do it 5 days a week.
At 5 days a week, and so when I am finished here at 9:00, and I get home. And I plop on the couch, and I'm there with Lauren for a little bit before she goes to bed. And then it's just like, I don't want to go to bed. I want at least another 90 minutes where I'm not thinking about anything. And because I feel like some days, and this has to change, obviously, I have to find a better way of enjoying the whole day.
Yeah.
I need that time just to do stupid shit and watch stupid shit. And if I read, my eyes are going to go crossed in 20 minutes, and I'm going to fall asleep.
And that's a good thing.
I know. I know. That's what you're going to say.
Because then you'll wake up more energized. You'll probably be less stressed, and you will enjoy your day more.
I know. See, I know what you're going to say.
He just answered the question for himself, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
I know.
And at the very least, you got to wear blue blocking glasses at night if you are. So like when I was in grad school, that's really when I picked up that habit, because I would be on the computer writing research papers till 1 a.m, and then I had to be up at 5 to get to the hospital the next day. And I don't intend to stay up that late, but I'll just start writing, and all of a sudden 2 hours goes by, and I'm like, damn, I got to go to bed. So, you know, blue blocking glasses really can save the day for that.
Molly from Keto Brainz is in the chat.
Hey, Molly.
And she said, Frank, holy basil, add holy basil to your day. It lowers cortisol and will not make you drowsy. You see, I'll tell you, I want to get into a little bit more of fine tuning what I'm doing during my eating windows and all that stuff, because the Keto Brainz has been an incredible boost every day that I know I can rely. If it was a good night's sleep and I just bounce out of bed and I'm in a fasted state and I worked out the day before and I'm rip roaring already, I'm nice and hydrated, I know the coffee with the Keto Brainz is going to be fucking rocket fuel. And then on days when I'm not feeling so well, I know it's going to be at least a regulator where like it can get me close to even. And then, but there has to be something else that I'm working in there.
I was just looking to see. Yeah. So I agree. There are some adaptogens and there are things that would help you in that scenario. So we could definitely look at those.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, but a nighttime hygiene routine is a big one.
Okay. Well, that's where I take my showers. Let's see here. I'm actually going to start that's going to be the new Patreon tier. You can take a shower, Frank, at night.
That is a great idea.
11:45
There you
p.m.
go.
Everybody just get into your shower and that's it. Okay, so Jay McHale goes to point number 4. Cultural attitudes in America, honor versus shame. We stigmatize tiredness. I do. You snooze, you lose. Exhaustion, weakness. You fight fatigue with caffeine. The result, makes sleep quality worse. In Japan, exhaustion is celebrated. Falling asleep at work shows dedication. And
That's interesting.
Public napping is honorable. When culture honors rest, your nervous system stops fighting fatigue.
There's something to be. There's probably a middle ground there.
There has to be a middle ground there. Aren't Asian countries very big with self-harm because of work pressure and academic pressure and all that stuff?
I mean, that's what you read about.
I thought that was actually much higher than us over here. I thought so.
Like, where were iPhones made? Is that China?
Well, they're mined in Africa.
Right. Yeah, I suppose it's a bunch of slave labor all around the globe. But remember they had those suicide nets?
Oh, yeah.
Was that China?
China, and mostly China. They have suicide net. You can't even say suicide on YouTube, by the way. People say unaliving.
Oh, is that why they do that?
Dude.
Wait, but it's a word.
I don't know.
It's a form of death. It goes on a death certificate.
I don't know. It's ridiculous. Highest suicide rates.
We've now said it 4 times.
What am I going to do? Let's see here.
I can't keep track.
Guyana. Wow, Zimbabwe has a high rate. Where the hell is Russia? Wait a second. There's not even a South Korea.
Oh.
It's 5th.
Okay.
Elderly and academic pressure.
Academic pressure.
So it's South Korea. I don't see it, but I thought China, Belgium is high due to liberal euthanasia laws impacting.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like MAID
18
in Canada?
18.3.
Jeez.
18.3 per 100,000. So it's per capita.
Okay.
Lesotho. Never mind. We're getting into
We've gone off track.
We're going way off track.
This show's going to 9:30, everybody.
Let's see here. Let me go back to all this. So yeah, there has to be a middle ground.
Yeah.
Number 5, sleep recovery in America, strategic versus resistant. We expect 8+ hours to feel human. All or nothing approach, guilt about napping, weekend catch-up sleep. Whereas in Japan, they master strategic recovery. They accept shorter duration, embrace 20-minute power naps, and focus on sleep efficiency over hours. So it's about 6 hours of quality Japanese sleep is better than 8 hours of anxious American sleep.
I mean, that makes sense. And also, when you wake up, according to if you close a sleep cycle, which are roughly 90 minutes long, if you wake up at the end of a sleep cycle, that's that feeling you get when you wake up, not when you were supposed to or when you were going to. You ever had that thing where you wake up way earlier than you normally would, but you kind of feel awake and like you could start your day, but it's like really early? That's likely you waking up at the proper end of a sleep cycle. Whereas when your alarm goes off, it could randomly wake you up in the middle of a deep sleep cycle. And that's when you feel that really kind of shitty, groggy feeling. So there's something to be said for that. There's really no way to measure it unless you go to a lab and actually get a bunch of electrodes attached to your brain, which is interesting.
Yeah. That's
polysomnography is
I know. I would never sleep in a lab.
Most people don't.
I can't. I don't even want to. I would never be able to have a ring cam in my bedroom and knowing that I have the option to look back at myself.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, to actually see how much you toss and turn.
You can buy a ring stick-up cam.
Yeah.
And just add it to whatever your security system. It's so easy to add those cameras in.
Yeah.
You buy one off of Amazon, boom, and it has playback of hours. And I don't want to see myself sleep. I don't want to see it sleep because I just don't know. I don't want it. I'm thinking about Paranormal Activity and shit.
Oh, well.
You know?
Yeah. You can combine that with a little one of those EVPs. So you get one of those little meters.
The EVPs?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Lauren and I, we talked about this for years. We're so happy. We always have a baby monitor on Aurora. And of course, there's going to be a day where that's not necessary anymore. It's probably not necessary right now. But, unless we're outside and she's whatever. Anyway, it's one thing to be able to peek in on her. It's another thing to have her recorded. She's never had a baby monitor that had like recording. So we can go back and look at her at, 3:45 in the morning, or see what if she did some creepy shit? What if she sat up and she's just looking around? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's weird.
She used to scare the shit out of us.
Yeah?
When she was from about 4 months to 8 or 9 months, when she was starting to, by 4 months, she was sleeping in her own room alone throughout the night, and we weren't going in there. Even if she woke up and she squealed a little bit, we said nope, and she just put herself right back to sleep at 4 months. But there was still a lot of anxiety there, where we would watch. All of a sudden, we see her head pop up and look around, and we would call this time in her life the scary baby. And at that time of night, Aurora was scary.
Really?
Yeah, only because we're just like waiting. Like, is her head gonna pop up? Is she gonna start screaming? Whatever. There was a few times where I used to work in the kitchen, so I'm typing in the kitchen. I didn't have an office, and I had Aurora's monitor right behind me, like on the kitchen sink, because I had to keep it plugged into the wall. And I remember one night, because she was behind me and I couldn't see her stirring or whatever like that, she started making these noises. She like this, and I don't know what the hell it was. And she was just like, she just started crying. Sometimes they just yelp. And I didn't expect it, bro. It was, I had a couple of like she spooked the shit out of me. Where she's just like standing behind me or something. I don't know.
Taps you on the shoulder.
Yeah. I know. And now she actually gets to walk around. That's even scarier sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Technology burden boundaries. Here, it's 9:06.
Yeah.
Technology boundaries in America. Content versus duration. Or let's see here. We bring chaos into the bedrooms.
Yeah.
TV, phones, tablets, everywhere, stimulating content. So that's not the case in Japan, apparently. And then pillow support in America. We use thick, soft pillows that tilt the head forward. Whereas they are using like buckwheat hull pillows that are firm and they conform to neck contours only.
It's that idea of sleeping the way we would have always slept, the way our skeletal system, everything has sort of, been used to over millions of years is lying on sort of hard surfaces and not with as much support and cushioning. And I go back to the running sneaker thing. A lot of evidence to support those things, that we find comfort in them, but are they actually good for us is the question. And now we've just gotten, like the theme of the show, have we just normalized a whole bunch of things that are actually not really the best thing for us, like type 1 diabetes Barbie?
Yeah, I know. So here you have it.
Those are some pretty good tips.
Keep bedroom anywhere from 60 to 65 degrees maximum. Take hot baths 1 to 2 hours before bed. Sleep on firmer surfaces. Honor tiredness instead of fighting it.
Yep.
Embrace strategic 20-minute naps and create strict bedtime tech boundaries.
Agreed with all of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and there's a lot of evidence to support each one of them, actually.
Well, I mean, there was other things that I had to fall back on.
We have a lot of things. I won't reveal it, but Frank and I randomly, Frank, you had a conversation on the show the other night what was it? What were you talking about? It was about, I know. It was Friday night when you and Matt and Mike and Sal, right? 4 of you? When you guys were watching those reels.
Yeah.
And you watched that hysterical video of the Hulk tripping over the doorway into the kid. That I was laughing so hard at that because I have some stories to tell the audience at some point. Frank doesn't even know any of this stuff.
No, and I know exactly. And I can't wait to hear these stories. No,
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You used to appear at parties as these characters.
I could have been that Hulk. That was what I did. It was one of my first jobs.
And then there's a cliffhanger because I want to hear all about these. And we should actually. I'm going to stockpile these superheroes at parties gone wrong video so we can watch together.
Please.
Dude, have you seen these Spider-Men that just
No,
knock themselves out?
I laughed so long at the Hulk one. I can't even imagine how good the rest of them are. The Hulk one made me laugh so hard.
Dude, it's the ones. Some of them are concerning because the Spider-Man characters they run in. All the kids are semi-excited, and they go to do a backflip and land into their superhero pose, and they totally wipe out and they smash. They cold cock themselves.
Oh my God.
They are out.
But the funny thing is, just again, I know it's going to be a cliffhanger, but somebody had said, I can't remember who said it, but like, Matt might have said, like, did the head fall off? And I got stories about heads falling off. I mean, I know what it's like to be in those costumes, and I can tell you, it is not a pleasant experience, and it is not at all. If you think you have any kind of, like, you have no peripheral vision, you're lucky if you've got, like, the tunnelist of tunnel vision. So you've got to try to navigate 92 4-year-olds screaming and yelling, and you can't even, if you go too far to one direction, you're going to ruin the whole party. I can't believe I actually did the job. It was a friggin' nightmare. But man, do I have some stories to tell you.
Okay, so listen, I really need you from now until September. I need you to come into the show as often as you can.
Okay.
Monday, the 21st, this Monday. It's the only night that I don't have a guest on. I have guests all throughout the week. If you can come into the studio, let me know. We can have a little bit of Monday night fun and at least make that into a segment.
Okay.
I mean, we can cover some news from the weekend, and then we can talk about ridiculous party stories, parties being ruined in hilarious ways. I don't know. We can do that on Monday night.
I don't think I ever ruined a party, but it came close.
Well, when my father was on, and I'll bring this up on the show if we do this on Monday. When my father was on the first time with my cousin Jeff, as a thumbnail for the show, I had this famous picture of me and my brother Anthony and some of my cousins at a birthday party at my great aunt's house, where there was this guy in a purple Barney costume, because and this is probably around 1993, 4, around there. There's this guy in this purple Barney costume, okay, and my father is posed behind him with a wiffle ball bat.
My God.
And he's just, everybody's taking he's entertaining the kids, but at this time Barney was everywhere. So they had some fun with a wiffle ball bat. They never hit him or anything like that.
No, of course not. Right.
But the funny thing is that not too long after that picture was taken, the guy in the Barney costume went down with heat stroke. Like it was a hot day as it was.
Yeah.
This guy ended up having to take a shower at my great aunt's house. Like they were nursing him, like cold water, all that stuff. I want to talk about the heat stroke and all that stuff.
By the way, I was Barney. That was one of the first characters I played, was Barney.
Oh, good.
I mean, I was young.
Very good.
I was young. I started that job, I think I was about 14 years old. I was before I could even drive. So other people had to drive me to parties. My boss was one of them. I worked for like a little startup company, and I was Barney. And the sweat coming down the inside of those heads was unbelievable. It was disgusting in there.
Okay. So do you have any pictures?
God. I don't
Anything
know.
you can bring?
I'd have to do some serious digging.
Well, you have a weekend.
I don't even have to go back to my parents' house to see if they've got any pictures. I could call my old boss. I wonder if she's still around.
Well, you have the whole weekend to check it out. This is going to be, that'll be good.
This is your life.
That is it. All right. You know what? Before we leave, let me just say, because with the super chats, Swickly says, "Mama bird me, Frank." I know Matt would.
Oh boy.
No.
Thank you.
My gosh. Incredible. That I'm so sorry I even heard that tonight.
Yeah, I am too.
I know. All right, so here's what I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. Before we leave, I just want to thank not only Natalie from Dulsa showing up, and please go check out their stuff on the website and in the description of the episode. They're going to be having a presence there at this September jamboree, and I want to start just sending things at home. I'm going to talk to Natalie about samples that we can just send people at home, and especially new sponsors and stuff of the show. But also, I want to thank Molly from Keto Brainz again, because it's because of Molly and her help that we have met everybody who ended up becoming a sponsor of the show, and she's been so helpful, not only just a wonderful sponsor of the show just in general, but so helpful in making this event just happen.
Yeah.
So thanks for all of the people you've introduced us to. They're wonderful, of high quality people and their products too. So all the best to Molly at Keto Brainz, and go check them out, please. Use promo code Frankly.
It was such a fortunate event that Keto Brainz got me through my comp exam at the end of grad school. I think I've told that story in the show before. It's 10 hours of exams, and it was just me, my French press, and Keto Brainz.
Good.
I got through it.
Well, you know what? Molly might actually stop by on Monday if that all goes well with you and I, because that might be a good place, depending on what the news from the weekend is, to also have a little bit of a talk about these Ozempic headlines.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that's a segue into some really interesting science behind the peptide stuff.
I know, and we're gonna have to do like a whole show on that, because I did a pretty considerable write-up, but I haven't published it anywhere, and so I want to we'll talk about it here first, and I want to finish it up and get it out to people, because it's some interesting stuff. And Jen and I are starting to really experiment with ourselves and with clients. So
for the Jamboree, would you be willing to dress as a superhero?
Possibly.
See?
You're going to take a vote on what superhero you want me to dress up as?
Yeah, Green Lantern.
I was never Spider-Man. I was Batman. That was fun. I was, you know who else I played? I don't want to ruin any of these.
No, we'll talk about it.
Okay, all right.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Go check out Jay, Perpetual Health CO on Rumble and on Instagram. Also, Perpetual Health on Substack.
Mm-hmm.
Please. It's great stuff, and he'll be back before you know it. And go and get some Jamboree tickets. It's on quitefrankly.tv/events.
Come hang out with us.
Hang out with us, man.
It's going to be so much fun.
And eat until you can't eat anymore.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Nighty-night.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. And I want to just thank all of our super chatters, starting with Jay Britz and Spray Can Art. Also to Jared and to Jay. Oh, wait, Jared. Jared, actually, I'm sorry, Jared, I didn't see this. Jared says, it's awesome to hear that there's going to be others attending the Jamboree from Oregon. I'm getting so pumped. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. And we're going to be shouting people out for all their traveling and stuff. So thank you, Jared. Thank you, all of our Rumble ranters and our gold pillars. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a very, very peaceful sleep. Until tomorrow, good night.
Goodbye.
All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody.